Hello, and welcome back to Mystic Motivation. Today, we are talking about the moon magic for the month ahead of May 2026. We're going to be talking about the moon cycles for the month ahead, the astrology, and just some of the witchcraft history and lore revolving around the month of May. So this is really prepping and priming us for how we can use our magic for the month ahead, how we can connect to the month ahead and make the most out of it. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel, and let's go ahead and dive right in. If you're new here, my name is Zoe. I'm a lunar glamour witch. I focus a lot of my practice around the moon cycles, the seasons, the sabbats, and I connect deeply with Venusian energy, working with goddess Aphrodite, and kind of just romanticizing symbolism as a means to empower my life. So you can find a lot of that content here. Enough about me. Feel free to tell me a little bit about you, but let's go ahead and dive into the moon cycles for the month ahead. So what's really exciting is that in May, we have not only one full moon, but two. We're starting off the month strong on May 1st with a full moon in Scorpio, and this is also our Sabbat Beltane. Just a little side note here, you might see me in this video referring to some books, referring to my notes. Let me give them a quick shout out in case you want to add these things to your list of witchy resources. I'm using The Witches, Sabbats, and Esbats by Sandra Kynes, Manifesting by the Moon by Jen Sankey, Moon Magick by DJ Conway, and we'll be ending this Moon Magic podcast using the Moonology Oracle cards by Yasmin Boland and another Oracle deck I have that I do not remember its name, but I felt called to it. That being said, now let's get into the full moon happening on May 1st. So this full moon is in Scorpio. It's peaking at 9:23 a.m. Eastern time. And because it's in the sign of Scorpio, it's this energy of shadow work, truth, power, and rebirth. Full moons are all about releasing. So when it's in the sign of Scorpio, we can kind of take this as a no BS energy, getting real with ourselves, what truly is holding us back. And with there being two full moons in the month, again, it's just really pushing this narrative of like what you need to be releasing. Now is the time to do it. And this falling on the Sabbat Beltane, I feel like is this really cool dual energy because Beltane is this very fiery season. It's celebrated traditionally on May 1st, and it's the midpoint between spring and summer. So the themes are fertility, passion, life force, sacred union. And it's almost like this story that's unfolding here in the month of May 2026. What you're striving for, what you're working towards requires you to be honest about what's out of alignment with you, to burn it with the fires of Beltane at this midpoint between spring and summer, to get real with yourself about what's holding you back. So let's talk a bit more about this Sabbat Beltane so we can understand how we can work with it in this energy. So Beltane falls directly opposite of Samhain on the wheel of the year. The Celts divided the year in half, with Beltane marking the end of winter and the beginning of summer, and Samhain doing the reverse. The name of this ancient celebration may have been derived from Bel or Belanus, a sun god who was also associated with the health-giving waters. He was venerated throughout the Celtic world from continental Europe to Britain. Bonfires were a traditional component of the Sabbat. The ritual fire was often lit on hilltops, so it would be visible far and wide. After ritual, a piece of smoldering wood was carried to each house to rekindle the home's fires and bring summer blessings. The most widespread ritual of Beltane is the dance around the maypole. The maypole represented the green man and was a symbol of fertility. Planting it into the earth represented the union with the sacred goddess. So again, with this dual energy of representing both goddess and god, this balancing of energy. Dancing around the pole while winding ribbons down and around it was believed to raise energy to enhance the power of procreation. May is strongly associated with the other world. Just as the veil between the worlds is thin at Samhain, so it is at Beltane, when the unseen can be seen. According to many legends, the fairy folk are particularly active during May, looking for fairy rings or toadstools or grass, and leaving an offering in your garden is to make friends with them. May is also a good time to leave offerings at wells and springs. During this time of year, the healing power of water from the sacred well is amplified. Water is especially important in the spring when crops are just beginning to grow. So Beltane originated from areas such as Ireland, Scotland, and is honored in pagan traditions and a lot of witchcraft. Because May is so strongly associated with the Sabbat of Beltane and this very life source giving energy, this is a time to think as fire as a representation of your life. And it's interesting to see how this is falling on a day where we have a full moon in Scorpio, which is kind of like the opposite of energy, with this being a water sign. It's kind of like this emotional truth has to come to fruition before the fires can burn away anything that's not serving you. Beltane asks us to celebrate life, while the Scorpio and full moon energy is asking us not to fake it. There's themes of desire and truth, pleasure and shadow, creation, destruction. So let this be your time to be honest with yourself. What themes have you been noticing in your life that are no longer working out? Things that you're ready to just let go of. And let this be the momentum, the midpoint between spring and summer, to get real and shift into who you truly want to be. So a simple little ritual you can do, a non-pressure practice, is work with that fire element. I personally do love to use a lot of candle magic. I think it's the most frequent magic I come back to. And it could be as simple as this: taking a piece of paper, writing down, being honest with yourself what you are ready to release, folding that paper away from you, burning it in the fire safely, and releasing it out into the world, out into the universe, clearing way for what you truly desire. After the ritual, you can journal again, feeling in your body, truly deeply feeling in your body what you are ready to embody. So let's go ahead and talk about the new moon that is happening in Taurus on May 15th. So this new moon in Taurus is peaking at 11:02 Eastern time. And with it being in an earth sign, this is very stable energy. So with new moons, this is when we can start manifesting. We can refer back to what intention we set on Beltane of, okay, I'm releasing truly what's no longer serving me, burning it away, letting it go. But here's the version of myself that I really want to be. Here's what I really want to embody. Here's what I want to attract. And now is the time to get clear on that intention again, deeply rooted, deeply grounded, and to begin to take action, baby steps to make that come to fruition. Taurus energy can be about stability, money, self-worth, body, and pleasure. If any of your manifestations are in alignment with these things, working with the sign of Taurus directly, especially in any relation in your astrological chart, can be very beneficial. Lean into how this Taurus grounded earth sign energy plays into your own unique energy, and allow that to support you in taking the steps towards what you want to come to fruition. Now let's talk about the second full moon we're having. On May 30th, it is a Sagittarius blue moon. So let's talk a little bit about what blue moons are exactly, referring to Manifesting by the Moon by Jen Sankey. If there's any book here that you're kind of interested in getting, I would recommend this one. It kind of has everything you need to know in it. But let's talk a little bit about what blue moons are. A new moon or a full moon usually occurs once per calendar month. Sometimes two moons fall during the same month, and that is where the terms blue and black moons come into play. So blue moons are when there are two full moons in a month. Black moons are when there's two new moons in a month. The second full moon in a calendar is considered the blue moon, and you can use this extra boost of lunar energy for your manifesting during that cycle. The blue moon adds an extra jolt of energy and allows you space for a big, much needed change. This moon energy may also illuminate your moon manifesting path just a bit brighter so you can take bigger actions or give you a nudge in the right direction. Now, practicality-wise, it's important to note that blue moons and black moons are based on the Gregorian calendar we use today. So technically, they don't hold extra significance. But if you have a rather symbolic practice, it can hold a lot of significance. It's just the way you see it. So because we do have a second full moon, you can decide to tap into that energy with it connecting to the way we use the calendar, with it being May, still in the month where we have had the Sabbat Beltane, and letting that be an extra push in what needs to be released for your manifestations to come to fruition. So this is what we're going to talk about next, is how the full moon is in Sagittarius this time. And the Evian reference references here in the book that something to consider is that the second moon may be in a different zodiac sign, so the energy may shift. You can use that change to your advantage when working with the moon cycle. So let's talk about it. So yes, the full moon is Sagittarius. The blue moon is on May 30th, peaking at 11:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Sagittarius is a fire sign energy, a sign about expansion, truth, freedoms, and beliefs. So I love how this plays into how the Scorpio full moon is getting you to be for real with yourself, be honest with yourself, no BS energy, while the Sagittarius full moon is living that truth. It knows its truth. That truth has already come to the surface. So this can provide deeper insights, kind of finish pushing what may be holding you back in regards to something you're wanting to come into your life and something you're wanting to grow and flourish. And it can aid in allowing that manifestation to expand bigger, to step into a greater version of what you're seeking now that you are releasing the blockages that were there. With the moons happening in May, I would say that overall, the best thing to do, simplifying your practice, is to just be honest about themes you've noticed happening in your life lately that have been holding you back, things that don't feel like they're truly in relation to you anymore, things that are not empowering you, getting honest with yourself and taking those baby steps towards what do I actually want my life to look like and how can I begin to align myself with that energy. The moons in May 2026 are supporting us in that endeavor. So let's talk about the two zodiac signs in May that will be kind of a reoccurring energy that we'll keep falling back onto. So up until May 20th, we will be in the sign of Taurus, that earth sign, grounded energy. Taurus, again, being about stability, sensuality, slow but steady growth, and financial grounding. We'll be switching into the sign of Gemini beginning May 20th. Gemini being an air sign, and this can be themes of communication, curiosity, learning, and social energy. So we're going from this very grounded Taurus energy that's asking us to find stability into a sign that is asking us to think about our mind, our learning, our expression, our communication. And it can be especially beneficial to see where you have these signs in your chart to allow them to empower you. Now, if you don't have these signs in your chart, it can even be beneficial to just work with these zodiac signs as archetypes, almost like using an energy to allow you to connect deeper with the season. May overall has a lot of themes of bringing duality and balance to the table. Thinking of the justice scales, thinking of the two faces of the Gemini or the two horns of a Taurus. There's two sides to everything. So allow yourself to hold nuance this month. Now let's talk a little bit more about May in general. Let's talk about some correspondences and ways you can connect to the season overall. So this is a month that's deeply tied to fertility magic. The full moon in this month is also commonly referred to as the hare moon. And you may also literally start noticing more bunny rabbits out and about. I certainly do. Every time I go on a walk, I've seen so many different animals. I've been seeing rabbits and their babies. I've been seeing geese and their gooselings, turtles, lizards. Just all of the animals are coming out representing this season of fertility, of growth. So connecting to any of that can be beneficial in your magic practices, thinking of your manifestation as something to fertilize. It's also very based around earth-based traditions, hence the maypole we talked about, themes of blooming, abundance, vitality, sensuality. And so here are some correspondences that you can add into your magic, whatever stands out to you, whatever sounds like something that would be beneficial to connect to. Some nature spirits that are commonly worked with are fairies and elves. Herbs are dittany of Crete, elder, mint, rose, mugwort, thyme, and yarrow. Colors are green, brown, and pink. Flowers are lily of the valley, foxglove, rose, and broom. Scents are rose and sandalwood. A lot of rose is included in these correspondences, so rose flowers could be beneficial here. Stones are emeralds, malachite, amber, and carnelian. Trees are hawthorn. Animals are cats, lynx, leopard, and rabbits. Birds are the swallow, dove, and swan. Deities that are commonly worked with in May are Venus, Aphrodite, Maya, Diana, Artemis, Pan, and the horned god. And then the power flow, the energy of this month is full of creative energy, propagation, intuition, contact with fairies and other supernatural beings, and strengthening your connection with supernatural protectors and beings around you. Now let's talk about some of the old sayings and lore that are popularly associated with this month. You can try it out, see what happens for you. So the Irish say that to see the future for good or ill, take a mirror outside, let the light of the moon fall on the surface and stare into it. Any face that appears will be connected with your future. Just out of curiosity, I might try that one. In some parts of Ireland, upon seeing the new moon, people bowed or knelt and said, "O moon, leave us as well as you found us." It'd be kind of theatrical to do that in public, but I might give it a whirl. And lastly, upon seeing the new moon, bow to her and turn over the silver coins in your pocket. This will bring you luck in all affairs. That's a little more subtle. We could definitely try that one. So overall, before we get into our tarot reading and oracle reading for the month of May 2026 for our collective, the energy of May is really just asking us to be real with ourselves. Astrological signs we're falling into are really asking us to ground in the Taurus energy, to be a bit more introspective, truthful, and honest, even within our duality in the sign of Gemini. Having a full moon in Scorpio and a full moon in Sagittarius, asking us to be very truthful about what needs to come to the surface and then what needs to be truly expressed and released. With that new moon in Taurus, again, asking us to be grounded and practical in how we want to bring our desires to fruition. Don't be afraid to do shadow work this month. Journaling could be beneficial. Burning release rituals could be beneficial. But ultimately, do what feels right to you in your practice. The month of May is fruitful, abundant, and fertile. And so are you. Tap into your inner magic, connect to the season, and just trust what you're led towards. The seasons most certainly change, and you're allowed to change too. That is your inner nature. All right, so let's get into a little collective message for the month of May 2026. We're going to start with some tarot cards. We're going to go into this deck I have. I do not remember the name, but this is just a witchy little deck I felt called to today. And then we'll be finishing with the Moonology Oracle cards. What are some themes that we need to hear? Advice, wisdom for May 2026, the collective here watching this video. We've got the Knight of Cups coming out, the Four of Cups coming out along with it, the Queen of Cups reversed. Okay, water sign energy. One more, please. Six of Cups. So I would say it would prove beneficial to really tap in, lock in, pay attention to May 1st, the Scorpio full moon, okay? Because this new moon is really going to be the catalyst. Whether you're here watching this video on time before the full moon, maybe you see it a little bit afterwards, but you'll probably subconsciously won't even have to do anything. This full moon's going to bring things to light. This full moon is really going to make it clear what's working for you and what's not. And it's almost like we're getting this message here that the universe is ready to bring in, to create movement within what's emotionally going to fill up our cups. But there is this almost like this warning, this guidance to not be avoidant or resistant to some of the things that you are asking for. Sometimes when we manifest, we expect things in a very specific way that tends not to be how it works, so that when it does come in a different way, in a unique way, we kind of avoid the opportunities that are actually pushing us towards what we're desiring. I'm almost getting this message here to be more aware of the truths that are coming to the surface. Be honest with yourself about ways that you may have been avoidant around things that could be emotionally fulfilling to you. Maybe focusing on things that aren't actually beneficial to you, which could be the blockages that need to be released. And during the Scorpio full moon energy, during Beltane, in order to put yourself back into a place where you feel empowered again, you feel like you've got your spark back. With the Queen of Wands in reverse, this can also be a highlight on centering yourself more and not allowing outside external energies to be almost siphoning from your cup, taking your energy. distracting you from what you're really trying to work towards. Again, this highlight here with the Six of Cups, it's almost getting like feeding into your inner child, being generous to your inner child, being generous to yourself. One of the things I always notice with the Queen of Cups in tarot is that she has the only cup that has this container on top. The water is not exposed. It's not out in the open like all of the other cards are. You have to create this sacred space within you, this kind of flowing well that never runs out of water, in order to truly flourish the opportunities that you want to flourish in your life. The universe wants to meet you halfway there. So don't resist exactly what you're asking for out of a habit, out of a pattern of possibly overgiving to others, other situations, jobs, whatever it may be, instead of making sure that you're well within. During a Sabbat where wells are very significant, water is very significant, to make sure you're showing up and tossing those little wishes and pennies into your inner well, feeding your creativity, feeding your desires, and putting that first. We'll leave the message at that. That felt resonant. So let's go ahead and pull from this deck here. Let's get a confirmation on the message we just received. Any wisdom this collective needs to hear. 3 cards are coming out, so we'll take it. We got the Raven, the Keeper of Secrets, the Moon, timing, and then Aradia, heritage. What's really interesting, if you are watching this video rather than listening, there is a raven sitting on Aradia, while we also got the Raven card. Very significant. You know, there might be a significance for some of you to work within the dark divine feminine energy. Immediately what came through was Mother Hecate, working with your shadow aspects, especially with that being highlighted in the month of May, to kind of befriend your nuance, your shadow, the aspects of yourself, kind of this Gemini type energy of the 2 faces of yourself, and using that as your wisdom, using that as your ultimate wisdom to deepen your magic, to empower your magic. And would you look at that? Okay, this card here, Aradia, she's got the Raven, but there's also a moon in the background. And then we separately got the Raven card, and we got the Moon card separately. It's bringing these 2 aspects of yourself into sacred union. The Moon representing your intuition. We also talked about hairs, the hare moon, the hare full moon happening on May 1st, right? This season of fertility, your shadow aspects. With the symbol of the spiral happening, it's often our pain that leads to our wisdom. The owl in the tree. All of it connects. You couldn't be at your full maximum potential, your most potent magic, without honoring both the pain you've endured and the wisdom that it's taught you. Sacred union is really significant here in the month of May. Tying this into the message we got, it's really essential that you fill your cups, that you honor yourself, that you feed into your magic, you feed into your desires. You allow the universe to meet you halfway and to support you in your vision, to make meaning out of your experiences, and to give back to yourself from that place, to embody your most fertile magic. I'm going to leave that there. The message in itself is really clear, especially with the imagery. Now to end, let's pull a card from the Moonology Oracle deck. 1 or 2 cards here. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Now it's really interesting. A time to give rather than take. New moon in Virgo. And then we got the energy is gaining momentum. Waxing moon. Okay. This energy here, a time to give rather than take. We got the 6 of Cups, this energy of giving to your inner child, filling your cups. This is really essential here, especially with the new moon. Sometimes we're always trying to seek something external. The taking here is like, I want this up, this up level in my career, this up level in my life, this up level in this thing. But sometimes we really have to water and nurture ourselves first. Maybe a bit of your manifestation this month in a month that is so fertile, that is very deeply connected to rose energy. We got a lot of Venusian energy in this month, especially with the references to working with the deity Aphrodite, Venus. We're getting this message coming through of like, yes, invest in yourself first before you ask for more. Make sure that we're clearing out blockages, things that are holding you back from feeling full, from feeling like this overflowing well first, before you ask for more. And when you enter that place quicker than you think, with it gaining momentum, going from the new moon to the waxing moon, it is literally saying sooner than you think will the energy gain momentum to go in the direction that you're wanting it to. That again, referencing to that Knight of Cups we got in tarot, saying the universe wants to meet you halfway, but first we must invest in self. All right, you guys. That was a really great message, a really cool message. I'm excited for the month of May 2026. I hope that you are too. This is a very abundant month. Show up in whatever way truly makes you feel good. Honor your practice in a way that makes sense for you. Don't stress yourself out. Don't overload yourself. Overall, the message that we're getting here is to just take care of yourself, and from that place, just organically release things that don't feel good and be honest about what you're really wanting and what you can do to get there. It doesn't have to be a huge, gigantic step. It just requires being honest with yourself. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and to subscribe to this channel. Let me know in the comments down below what resonated with you and what you're looking forward to in the month of May. If you are looking for a witchy community, I have an online coven, the Scarlet Rose Coven, where we gather virtually once a month to learn about different subsects of witchcraft. We come together to learn, to do sacred practices, self-care, and spell work. And this is an eclectic space. Welcome to witches of all layers and levels. Truly just a space to find eclectic community and to learn about different areas of witchcraft. When you join as a member, you gain access to not only the monthly gatherings, but also a library of resources, different workbooks, meditations that I've created that you can use throughout the month, use in relation to your practice so that you can grow. You also gain access to our Discord chat where you can connect with other witches, chat, ask questions, express yourself, share your wins. And 10% of your membership goes to charity. We're working with Knox Pride Charity, supplying food to those in need, and making community and support the foundation of our coven. If this resonates with you, I'll put a little bit more details in the caption down below. And you can head to the link in bio, click the Covens tab, and I'll see you there. Thank you for being here, witches. Much love.